classes, we are discussing about the rate of transport where root pressure theories we completed in previous class, where root pressure is responsible for pumping of water in trachyry elements with the help of positive hydrostatic pressure. Okay, then next topic is transpiration. Briefly, I told you about the transpiration, where transpiration is loss of water vapor through the leaves in stomata. So that loss of water vapor in the stomata of leaf creates negative hydrostatic pressure. That negative hydrostatic pressure is responsible for uplifting. Okay, see here, what is the transpiration? Transpiration is evaporation of water vapor. Evaporation of water vapor through stomata of leaves. Through the stomata. Is letters visible for you? Font. Yeah, visible. Yeah, thank you. So the stomata which are present on surface of leaf, that is responsible for evaporation of the water in plants. Okay, this stomata, where it is present? It is present majorly in leaves. Water vapor, I mean, when temperature of atmosphere is more, or inside the water, inside the leaf, when there is more water, that condition will create loss of water vapor through the stomata of the leaves. That loss of water vapor through the stomata of leaves is called as transpiration. Here, that stomata, all they are responsible for loss of water vapor. They also help in exchange of gases like carbon dioxide and oxygen. So carbon dioxide, which is needed for photosynthesis, that is taken into the plant body through stomata only. Okay, whereas oxygen, which is released in respiration of plants, that is released into atmosphere. Exchange of gases, where CO2 is taking in and O2 is releasing out. Intake of CO2 and release of O2, that is also taking place. So carbon dioxide and oxygen respiration is taking place through stomata. This stomata is a small opening which is present on surface of leaf. Here, where stomata are present? Stomata are present on surface of leaf, where epidermis of leaf anatomy. So leaf, if we see, leaf has two surfaces, upper surface and lower surface. Here there are two epidermal layers between leaf surface. Here, between the two epidermal layers, one is making disturbance. Why? Yeah. So there are two epidermal layers. Between that epidermal layers, everything like this vascular bundles here, along with xylem phloem and parenchyma cells, which having chloroplasts, which are called as mesophyll cells. That mesophyll cells arrangement is two types in monocots and dicots. Okay, dicot leaf is a dorsiventral leaf, where one type of parenchyma or mesophyll cells are present on one surface, and other surface has other type of mesophyll cells, dicots, which is a dorsiventral. Whereas monocot leaf has all similar kind of mesophyll cells. You know, this is epidermis, this is epidermis. Here, this epidermis has some small openings which is called as stomata. Here upper surface, lower surface, two surfaces are present on leaf. Here upper surface is abaxial surface, lower surface is adaxial surface. Here the stomata may be present in one side or both sides. See here, first if we see how stomata is present, this stomata is made up of two cells which are bean shaped cells. That two cells of stomata are called guard cells. Stomata is a small opening where two cells in epidermis, they form stomatal aperture. These two cells which are present around that stomatal opening, that stomatal opening is called what? Stomatal aperture or opening. This stomatal aperture is surrounded by two guard cells. Stomatal aperture and guard cells, and these cells are next surrounded by subsidiary cells. Cells which are surrounding that guard cells are called subsidiary cells. So stomata has majorly three parts. Two cells which are bean shaped cells, they form stomata. The two cells what are forming here which are bean shaped, they are called as guard cells. Two guard cells are forming main part of stomata. That two guard cells, they form a small opening or pore. The pore or opening which is present at the center of two guard cells is forming that stomatal pore or stomatal aperture. Okay, this stomatal aperture may be closing or opening based on the water levels in guard cells. Based on the water levels in guard cells, the stomatal pore may be opening or closing. Okay, I will tell you. So stomata is made up of three major parts: stomatal pore, guard cells which are surrounded by subsidiary cells. Okay, now down this structure diagram. I think that is very small. All of you might complete. Okay, if we see how stomata will open and stomata will close. Two guard cells, when guard cells get more water, if water concentration is more in guard cells, what will happen? Yeah, they will swell up. Swell up means they become turgid. Turgidity means that two guard cells will be swelling. Swelling means here two guard cells, they become turgid. As two guard cells will become turgid. Yeah, that bean shape. When two guard cells are becoming turgid, due to the turgidity, cells will open up, and this causes opening of stomata. Stomata opens when that water is entering the guard cells, and the guard cells when they are become turgid. Then when guard cells lose water, they will become closed. What we can say, they become flaccid. Flaccid means water is lost from the cells. So the two guard cells, they will lose water, and water is lost, they will become flaccid like this. Flaccid means like a plasmolyzed cell. Guard cells become flaccid. As they become flaccid, stomata closes. Stomata closes. So, the opening or closing of stomata is majorly depending on the availability of water. When water is more available, guard cells will get more water, they will swell up. When they become turgid, stomatal pore or stomatal aperture will be opening. Whenever there is less water in guard cells, then the stomata, two guard cells will become flaccid. When they become flaccid, stomata aperture will be closed. Note down this. Yeah, done. Usually, generally in daytime there is opening of stomata and in night time there is closing of stomata. Stomata opens in daytime and closes in night time. In daytime, usually there is opening of stomata and transpiration is taking place majorly in daytime. Whereas in night time, there is the closing of stomata. Stomata will be closed. Okay? Note down this. Then we'll see here how that stomata are arranged on leaves. Generally, stomata opens in daytime and closes in night time. Okay? Then the opening and closing of stomata is nothing but what we can say? Opening and closing of stomata is depending on water content. Next, see here, based on stomata, presence or absence of stomata. Wait, I will write down. Based on stomata on leaf surface. Based on stomata on the surface of leaves, leaves are divided into different types. Okay, like if stomata which is present on upper surface, suppose epistomatous leaves. Epistomatous means stomata which is present on upper surface only. Leaf upper surface. Suppose this is leaf lamina. This is leaf lamina. This is upper surface of the leaf. This is lower surface of the leaf. Upper surface is called as what? Dorsal surface. Lower surface is called as ventral surface. Upper surface is also called as adaxial. Lower surface is called as adaxial. Adaxial surfaces of the leaf. Here, if stomata is present on only upper surface, that is called as epistomatous leaf. Then, if stomata is present on only lower surface, stomata on only lower surface, then it is called as hypostomatous. Hypostomatous. Third one, if stomata is present on both upper and lower surfaces, then it is called amphistomatous. stomata on both surfaces. Upper surface and lower surface of the leaf, both surfaces have stomata. That is amphistomatous and astomatous. Astomatous means leaves which do not have stomata. Leaves which do not have stomata, they are called as astomatous leaves. Astomatous leaves. See here, if you see a dicot leaf, which is called as dorsiventral leaf. This dorsiventral leaf is majorly epistomatous leaves. Leaves of dicot plants, they have stomata, greater number on upper surface. Stomata. Lower surface. Lower surface of dicot has greater number in lower surface. Sorry, majorly hypostomata. That means more hypostomatous, less epistomatous. In dicot leaf, stomata present more on lower surface and less on upper surface. If you see monocot leaf, in monocot leaf, which is called as isobilateral leaf. In isobilateral leaf, equal on upper and lower surface. Both upper and lower surfaces of leaves have equal number of stomata. In dicot leaf, more stomata are present on lower surface and less stomata is present on upper surface. Whereas in monocot leaf, both upper and lower surfaces have equal number of stomata. Note on this. So based on that number of stomata, we can see this. Okay, this stomata can also be demonstrated by experiments. Bell jar experiment. Note on this, then I will tell you. Yeah, done. Now, yeah. No. What I am saying is, amphistomatous. Monocot, dicot, both are amphistomatous. Suppose hydrophytes are there now. Plants which are living in water. They are astomatous. Stomata is absent. We will see. I mean, the leaf anatomy will come now. Leaf astomatous, how transpiration? That only I am saying. Astomatous means there is no transpiration in that leaf. Especially the leaves which are living in hydrophytes. Plants which are living in hydrophytes. No transpiration. Plant itself living in water. Okay. How hypostomatous leaves? Whether it is present on epistomata or hypostomata, that is not a matter. Whether stomata is present on upper surface or lower surface, that is not a matter. Because whether it is present on upper surface, if stomata is present on upper surface, high rate of transpiration will be there. If stomata is present on lower surface, low rate of transpiration will be there. Suppose xerophytes, xerophytes. What are xerophytes? Xerophytes are the plants which are living in less water area. When water is not available well, the plants which are living in xerophytic conditions, xeric conditions, they need more amount of water. but water is less available. So transpiration is very low in xerophytes. So when we go to that leaf anatomy, in anatomy of flowering plants lesson, how leaf epidermic structure, middle mesophyll structure and everything, there will clearly know about that arrangement of stomata in middle of that epidermis, and how that transpiration is taking place, we will see clearly. In xerophytes, there is less rate of transpiration. In hydrophytes, there is no need of stomata because leaf itself living in water. Okay, grasses have equal amounts of stomata on upper and lower surfaces. Okay, rate of transpiration is depending on availability of water. In mesophytes where plants are living on land or soil, if more water is available, then the rate of transpiration will also be more. If water availability is very less, then the rate of transpiration will also be less. So that rate of transpiration is depending on the type of the organism or type of the plant and availability of the water. Availability of the water and the type of the organism, that also maintains this one. Okay, the rate of transpiration can be demonstrated by bell jar experiments. If we keep a plant in potted condition where soil and water is there, and if you cover that plant with the help of a bell jar, then we can observe the transpired water vapor inside the bell jar. This is a surface. On this surface, a plant is taken in a pot. Plant which is growing in a pot is taken, and that bottom portion of the plant is covered with polythene cover or something, because the water may be absorbed by the soil, so it is covered. This is a plant with leaves is taken here. A plant with many leaves was taken here. This plant now is kept inside a bell jar. This is bell jar is closed on surface of the plant. That bell jar, it is a glass jar. A bell jar is placed on water. That means plant is covered inside a bell jar. When the plant is covered inside a bell jar, what happens? Due to transpiration, there is a loss of water vapor by the plant. The water vapor which is lost by the plant may be accumulating on upper portion of the bell jar. Upper portions of the bell jar will become wet due to accumulation of the water. So water will accumulate on upper portions of the bell jar, and see now, when a plant pot is covered with a polythene cover and the plant is closed inside a bell jar, if we observe, after some time we can observe the water vapor, and at the same time, by taking cobalt chloride in water, we can observe the color, where normal cobalt chloride, which is blue in color, it will turn into pink color on combining with water molecule. Cobalt chloride, which is blue color, a paper strip we can place here. Paper strip or something which is taken with cobalt chloride we can place here. that cobalt chloride dipped paper or something we can keep here. When this bell jar along with the plant is kept aside for some time, there is a transpiration taking place through the leaves. There is a lot of water vapor. That water vapor will accumulate here, and whenever that water vapor interacts with the cobalt chloride compound, the blue colored cobalt chloride will turn to pink color, so that transpiration is taking place inside the bell jar. That we can demonstrate. Write some points for this. For this diagram, draw this diagram, simple diagram, then you can write. Here this is what? A twig of the plant. This is bell jar. This is water vapor. This is water vapor. Okay, this is pot covered with that polythene cover or something. Polythene cover. Complete? Write a few points for this experiment. Yeah. Transpiration can be easily demonstrated. Transpiration can be easily demonstrated by placing well watered plants inside a bell jar. Inside a bell jar. Next point. The pot and soil are covered with polythene cover. The pot and soil are covered with polythene cover or aluminum foil. Polythene cover or aluminum foil, so that no water evaporates. No water evaporates except through the plants. Except through the plants. Next, soon moisture collects. Soon moisture collects on inner surface of the bell jar. On inner surface of the bell jar, due to water vapor released by the plant, and get condensed and deposited on the surface of the jar. on surface of the jar. The bell jar without plants, the bell jar without plants cannot get this moisture, the bell jar without plant cannot get moisture under same conditions. Next point, water loss through transpiration. Water loss through transpiration is studied from, repeat the before point, bell jar without plants will not, bell jar without plants will not get moisture under same conditions. Next point, water loss through transpiration can be studied from leaf using cobalt chloride paper. Continuation, a filter paper dipped in cobalt chloride and dried. Dipped in cobalt chloride solution and dried is fixed to leaf surface, using glass slides and paper clip. Next point or continuation, after some time cobalt chloride paper in blue color turns into pink color due to absorption of water. Please save from glass slides. Cobalt chloride, a filter paper dipped in cobalt chloride solution and dried is fixed to leaf using glass slide and paper clip. After some time cobalt chloride paper turns from blue to pink color turns from blue to pink color due to absorption of water. Here this is leaf surface, leaf lamina. On this, a filter paper which is dipped in cobalt chloride and dipped, that is kept on leaf surface where stomata is present. Then this is leaf surface, on this cobalt chloride dipped filter paper is kept. Then a glass lid is kept on its surface and it is clipped. A clip is placed. If you leave it for some time and if you observe, cobalt chloride is originally blue in color. But after some time, which will take water from the leaf on transpiration, so as water is collected by the cobalt chloride filter paper from the leaf by transpiration, cobalt chloride paper will turn into pink color. That means it is taking water. On absorbing water, cobalt chloride paper is turning into pink color. Like that we can. Okay. Next, see types of transpiration. Types of transpiration. Transpiration is loss of water vapor usually through stomata. But not only stomata, some other parts of the plant also carrying transpiration. Here, the major part of transpiration is carried by stomata, where transpiration is of three types. Among them, stomata is more, which is first one is stomatal transpiration. Transpiration which is taking place through the stomata of leaf is called stomatal transpiration. That means transpiration which is occurring through the stomata of leaf. Transpiration which is occurring through the stomata of leaf is called as stomatal transpiration. What we discussed till now, that is stomatal transpiration. Okay, here the epidermis of leaf, where stomata on epidermis of leaves involved in this type of transpiration. Stomatal transpiration is carried by the stomata which is present on epidermis of green leaves. Okay, here if you see total transpiration, in that total transpiration, 80 to 90% of total water loss by transpiration is by stomata. In a plant, if you take a plant, in a plant, if you see total rate of transpiration or total amount of transpiration, in that total amount of transpiration, 80 to 90% of total transpiration of water is taking place through stomata. In total transpiration, 80 to 90% of transpiration is taking place through this one. Second one, cuticular transpiration. Cuticle is one, which is cuticular transpiration. Cuticular transpiration is second type of transpiration. Here, this water vapor where stomata is losing through the cuticle. Cuticle is a covering which is present, a layer. Cuticle is a layer which is present on surface of some leaves and stems. So water vapor which is losing through cuticle. Transpiration which is through cuticle. What is cuticle? I told you, which is upper layer which is present on surface of leaf and stem. Okay, what is this cuticle? Cuticle is a wax layer. Wax means like lipid. Wax layer of cutin. Cutin. Cutin is there, you know. Cutin. Cutinized. So that waxy layer, this is water repellent. Water repellent means hydrophobic in nature. So on surface of leaf or stem, on epidermis of leaf and stem, on leaf surface and stem surface, there is the presence of a water repellent waxy layer called cuticle. So, if that stem or leaf surface which has a cuticle, if transpiration is taking place directly through the cuticle, then it is called this cuticular transpiration. Okay. Here, normally, what is this cuticle means? Cuticle prevents, actually it prevents water loss, because cuticle is a waxy water repellent layer. Okay. As it is water repellent and impermeable to water, hydrophobic in nature, it prevents water loss. Here, especially if you see, if cuticle which is present on surface of stem or leaf, if cuticle is thick, then transpiration is low. Thicker the cuticle, lower the transpiration. If cuticle is thin, then transpiration is more. Okay. So cuticle which is present on stem or leaf surface, not through the opening. Suppose if we take leaf surface, this is leaf surface. In that leaf surface, small pores or hole-like structures are there, which are called as stomata. Through that, there is a lot of water vapor normally. But this is leaf surface. There is no pore. Epidermis is there, na? Epidermal cells. That epidermal cells are covered with waxy layer. Through that epidermal layer, I mean epidermal cells only, not through the stomata. That epidermal cells and the waxy layer both are involving in transpiration, then it is called as the cuticular transpiration. Okay? Cuticular transpiration is around 10% of total transpiration. 10% of total transpiration is by cuticle. Third one, lenticular transpiration. Lenticels. Lenticular transpiration is next one. Lenticels. What are lenticels means? Here, these lenticels are small openings which are present in woody pots. Small openings which are present in stem, especially some stems, twigs and fruits. Small openings, especially they are present in cork. Cork, you know, what is cork? Suppose if you see stem, there is presence of epidermis. Below that there is presence of stem, hypodermis will be there, then cortex, then endodermis, then pericycle. Inside that there is a trachyary element, xylem phloem. This is what we can say cork tissue. Okay, this is cork. In that cork tissue, there is presence of small openings where epidermis may be opening. That epidermis, small openings which are present in stem, twigs. Twigs means herbaceous plants, and fruits. Even in fruits also, there is presence of small openings. That is what we can say lenticels. Okay, here water vapor lost through these lenticels. That lenticel is a type of lenticular transpiration. In stem, especially when secondary growth is taking place inside the stem, upper epidermis layer will open. Small porous structures will develop on epidermis and cork. That is what we can say lenticel. That lenticel is involving in water loss directly through the stem. Okay, it is accounting around 0.1% of total transpiration. In total transpiration, 0.1% is taking place through the lenticels of the stem. Okay, this lenticels are majorly responsible for transpiration and exchange of gases also. In stem also there is exchange of gases. Along with that, transpiration is also taking place in lenticels. So lenticels are also involving in transpiration. That means leaf is involving in transpiration through stomata, then stem is involving in transpiration through cuticle or lenticel. Cuticular transpiration is seen and lenticular transpiration is seen. Okay, this is about types of stomatal movements. Okay, then we'll see how stomata will open and close. Note down this. Okay, complete. Yeah, see how that stomata will open and close due to that. Mechanism of stomatal movement. Mechanism of stomatal movement means opening and closing of stomata. Okay, this mechanism of stomatal movement can be explained with the help of some proton pump, potassium pump theory. What happens here? Briefly, I will tell you. In light, stomata will open in daytime and close in night time. Daytime, when light is available. What happens? First, starch. Rate of photosynthesis is more in daytime. So in starch, in light condition where there is a presence of starch, starch is converted to organic acid. Starch is being hydrolyzed. Starch is undergoing breakdown and it is converted into organic acids in presence of light in guard cells. Inside the guard cells, starch what is available, that is breaking down, which is undergoing hydrolysis. Okay, then that organic acids what are produced here, that organic acids what are produced here, they are dissociated then. Dissociated. That dissociation of organic acid results in what? H plus ions. H plus ions. I mean ions. Ions means both anionic and cationic. Suppose organic acid, what is organic acid? COOH group is present in organic acid. Where this one? COOH group is present in an organic acid. When COOH group is present, not visible, huh? Yeah. Here, take COOH group. When COOH group is present on dissociation, what will happen? This will convert into COO minus plus H plus ion concentration. H plus ion concentration is forming. So it will dissociate into H plus ion. And suppose take an example. H plus ions and anionic form of acid. Why we need to take example? Suppose malic acid or oxalic acid, something organic acid is there, means that malic acid has COOH group. That COOH group will convert into COO minus and H plus will be released out. So there is a formation of anionic form of organic acid and this one. Okay. Then H plus ions, what are formed here? H plus ions are transported out of guard cells. So H plus ions will come out from the guard cells. So H plus ions, as they are coming out of the guard cells, now H plus ions are coming out. Inside that anions are more. Anions are there, means more means negative charge is more inside. So that K plus ions are taken inside. K plus ions what are available, they will be taken inside to neutralize that. So that what will happen? And K plus ions accumulate inside. K plus ion concentration will be accumulating inside that. So as K plus ions are accumulated, that takes Cl minus ions also. Cl minus ions to combine with K plus and form KCl. KCl means, what is KCl? There is formation of a salt. Yes, it is a salt. A solute is made. So increased concentration of K plus, Cl minus and anionic form of organic acids all are increasing. Okay. So what happens? Due to that, inside guard cells, what happens? Solute concentration increase. Yes or no? Solute concentration increases and decrease in water potential. Water potential will fall down. Yes or no? Understand? Yes. Water potential is decreasing. So what happens? As a result, water enters guard cells. Because inside the guard cells there is less water potential. Outside the guard cell there is water potential and it will become turgid. turgid and stomata opens. This is taking place in light, where the chemical theory, which is K plus pump theory, explains how potassium ions are entering the guard cell and there is opening of stomata. Stomata is opening inside the guard cell as, first listen once again, starch is first converted into organic acid. Starch is breaking down into organic acids inside the guard cell. That organic acids are again further undergoing breakdown and it is converting into protons and anionic form of acids. As the protons are produced due to that osmosis, the protons will be coming out of the guard cell. As due to osmosis, because protons are producing inside the guard, outside the guard there is H plus ions left, so it is coming out. So H plus ions are coming out of the guard cell. As H plus ions are coming out of the guard cells, K plus ions enter the guard cell. When K plus ions are entering the guard cells, inside that guard cell, K plus ions will accumulate. That will take chloride ions also, Cl minus ions also. When K plus ions, Cl minus ions, anionic forms of organic acids, all these are increasing inside that guard cell. So solute concentration will increase inside the guard cell and water potential will decrease. As water potential is decreasing inside the guard cell, what is taken from outside of the guard cell to inside of the guard cell? So water is entering the guard cell, that guard cell will become turgid and stomata will be open. This is taking place in light. Whereas in dark, when light is not available, what happens? Here in dark, carbon dioxide concentration is increasing inside this dark, inside the guard cell, because in night time, carbon dioxide accumulation is low. So CO2 levels, carbon dioxide levels increased inside the leaf. Carbon dioxide levels increase in leaf. Leaf means near the stomata, outside the stomata, inside that. Okay? Because photosynthesis is stopped in night condition, whereas in dark, and respiration takes place in night time. In dark, rate of photosynthesis is decreased and rate of respiration is increased, so that CO2 concentration will be increasing. Okay, so what happens? It prevents, as CO2 concentration is increasing, it prevents proton gradient. It prevents proton gradient. Proton gradient is prevented, and that the proton gradient is prevented means H plus ions are not coming out, so that H plus ions do not come out, and that intake of K plus ions stops. K plus ions are entering the cell, guard cell, that will be stopped for both phases. Okay, so that H plus ions are available inside the guard cell itself because they are not coming out. H plus ions and ionic form of acid, where this anionic form combine and form organic acid back. Organic acid is regenerated. They combine and form organic acid. Okay. As organic acid is produced back, this organic acid is produced back. As it is produced, this process is stopped. So it stops the conversion of starch into organic acid. The process of breakdown of starch into organic acid will be stopped because organic acids are produced now itself. So as this excess organic acids are inhibiting the conversion of starch into organic acids, so that causes H plus ions, sorry, K plus ions and Cl minus ions move out of the guard cell. It creates K plus and Cl minus ions move out of guard cells. As K plus ions and Cl minus ions are moving out of guard cells, water potential increases in guard cells. Water potential increases in guard cells. Water potential will be increased in guard cells. Yes or no? K plus ions, Cl minus ions are coming out of the guard cells, means inside that solute concentration is decreasing. Solute concentration decreases means there is increase in the water potential. Water potential increase means inside the guard cell water potential is increased. Now what happens? Janani, Lohitini. What happens now? Are you able to? Yeah, water moves out. Janani, Pridarshini, Lohitini, Kirtini, all. Here, as a result, water moves out of guard cell. As water moves out of guard cell, it becomes flaccid. Guard cell becomes flaccid. So cell will become shrink. As guard cells become flaccid, then stomata will be closing. Stomata closes. This is what happening in night time. In night time, there is no photosynthesis and increase in respiration. Due to that, H plus ion will not come out. Starch breakdown will also be stopped. So that K plus ions and Cl minus ions what are present inside guard cell, they will come out from the guard cell. As K plus ions and Cl minus ions come out of the guard cell, inside the guard cell, water potential will decrease. As water potential increase. As water potential increasing, water will be coming out of the guard cell, so that guard cells will become flaccid, shrinking, so stomata will be closing. This is our mechanism of movement. Okay, so what happens in this light? Endosmosis of water takes place. Endosmosis of water into the guard cell. Whereas in dark, there is exosmosis. Exosmosis of water from the guard cell. In presence of light, endosmosis of water into the guard cells taking place, so that guard cells will become turgid and stomata is opening. Whereas in dark, exosmosis of water is taking place from the guard cell, so that there is loss of water from the guard cell, so it will get flaccid and stomata will be closed. This is okay. This is of two types. I mean, how transpiration is taking place. Then we will see some factors which are affecting the rate of transpiration in next class. Already it is 12 o'clock. Our time is over. We will continue in next class. Thank you.